Good morning and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you for our very first Wisdom Wednesday session of 2026. The session is due to kick off at 11 o'clock, so we're just going to wait a few minutes for a couple more attendees to join us. But please, in the meantime, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and you can see my screen. On the line with me today, Ngoni is our organizer of today's event, and he's giving me a thumbs up right now. So I trust everybody else can see and hear me clearly, and we'll be kicking off in just about 4 minutes. So enough time to grab a cup of coffee and to get ready for our session, which is all about starting strong. How do we start this year off on a positive, strong note so that we can finish even stronger? We'll get started in just about 4 minutes. So 3 minutes to go before we kick off our session. It's great to have you on the line. I just want to confirm that today's session is going to be recorded. And if you have any questions, you can please pop a note in the meeting chat or in the Q&A. I would love for you to tell me how you're feeling at the start of 2026. One word to describe how you're feeling at the start of this new year. So let's get the chat going with some of those words. I'd love you to please pop those words in the meeting chat. My word would be energy and intention. Yes, I am giving 2 words to describe how I'm feeling right now at the start of 2026. We'll be kicking off today's session in just about 2 minutes. And in the meantime, I encourage you to please just use that meeting chat and to tell me one word. How has your year begun? Or how are you feeling at the start of 2026? Geraldine, motivated and positive. I love it. Ngoni is saying blessed and focused. I'm feeling energy and intention. Tell us how you're feeling. We'll be getting started in just under a minute. Thank you so much for joining us for this Wisdom Wednesday. And a very good morning to each and every one of you. My name is Val Leeming, and it's awesome to have you on the line this morning. We are here for the Academy of York Wisdom Wednesday, our very first of 2026. And we're talking about how important it is in terms of this year, how we can start strong in order to finish stronger. And the theme is all about really progress and perfection. And today's session is being recorded and it will be placed on our Learning Hub. I'm joined by Ngoni, and it's awesome to have you with us today. We're encouraging you to chat to us on the chat on Teams, and you can also use reactions. We love a few reactions. So if you can hear me, if you can see me, if you can see the screen, please give me a reaction. You can give me a thumbs up. You can give me a thank you, Geraldine. Thank you, Tando. I'm seeing your thumbs up. That's awesome. Clapping hands. I can see you out there. We might be all spread far and wide, different locations throughout South Africa, but we're connected in terms of having a purpose to make 2026 perhaps our best year ever. I also asked while we were waiting in the chat before today's session started, give me a word or give me 2 words in terms of how you're feeling around 2026. How has your year started? Some of the words that are coming through are motivated and positive, intentional and positive, fruitful and great and grateful, blessed and focused. So lots of very positive words coming through. And certainly I'm feeling a sense of energy, motivation. And my keyword for 2026 is really about being intentional in terms of what I want to accomplish and how I'm going to make each and every day count, as opposed just to counting down the days. I want to make each and every day count. I want to have meaning and motivation. So it's a new year, potentially a new you. I'm one of the directors at Academy of York. I'm a qualified teacher. I've been in adult education for more than 25 years and certainly really am passionate about helping people be the best they can be in every aspect of their life. Academy of York, the college for people with a purpose. We have over 24,000 graduates and alumni. At any given time, we have about 3,000 students actively studying. If you're currently studying with Academy of York, give me a hands up. Perhaps even you might have invited a friend to join today's session. For us, caring is sharing. We like everybody to be part of it. So students, we've got Tando, Sipiso, Maria, that's awesome. Poncho, maybe you're all studying different things, but there's certain common denominators. Nolutando is on the call. She's also studying. That's awesome. So in terms of our student body, they are based throughout South Africa and even across our borders. And really, very often our students are studying in order to improve their skills, their knowledge, their careers. They study for different reasons at different segments of their lives. And we're really at Academy of York, we're all about this fanatical student support, really trying to make sure that we are proactive, that we help you. We know studying via correspondence or via distance learning or online isn't always that easy, but we're really here to connect those dots, to create this virtual environment where you feel connected, where you feel supported, where you're able to achieve your goals. So we're going to be talking a little bit about goal setting. We're going to be talking about priorities. And really, what is the plan in order to start this year off in the right way, in the way that's best suited for you and to meet your needs? We're going to be looking at how our different nows might be a little bit different. Our current situations might be different. We might be on different paths. We might be at different stages, different ages of our lives. But we're really going to take a look at not only our now, but what motivated us to study. And then this concept of small wins, small fixes in 2026, how these small wins can build momentum and how that momentum can help us reach our goals. We're also going to be talking about 3 key steps. We're going to be looking at time. We're going to be having a look at energy, and we're going to have a look at how to avoid burnout this year. Burnout is incredibly common. You know, we think we've got an unlimited amount of energy. We think we can do it all, have it all, and we end up juggling all of these different aspects of our lives. And perhaps sometimes we forget about the importance of self-care. And then we're going to be looking at what is your personal action plan. So it's great to have you on the line today. Just a reminder that we will be recording today's session, and that everybody is comfortable with that. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to stop us, ask us those questions. I see a couple of hands are raised still. Perhaps that is because you're raising your hand saying, I'm an Academy of York student or graduate. But just to confirm, please take a note, and Ngoni will interrupt me if there is a question that I need to ask of answer in terms of our audience. So very often people think about New Year's resolutions. I'd love you to, in the chat, tell me what you think about New Year's resolutions. And I guess people make these resolutions. Very often they sort of think about, well, what do I want to achieve in my life? Perhaps what do I want to get rid of? What doesn't serve me anymore? It creates that sense of optimism, hope, excitement. I love it's almost like you're opening a new book or a new journal, and all the pages are perfectly clean and they're ready for you to write what you want to write on them. It's not like you've got any areas that you sort of halfway through the year, perhaps you start losing that motivation. So some of the 10 top resolutions very often is people want to exercise, or they want to lose weight, or they want to eat healthier, or they want to perhaps learn how to manage their money more effectively, save, or they want to learn a new hobby or skill, or they want to quit something, get rid of something. It could be vaping, it could be smoking, it could be alcohol, it could be any bad habits. Perhaps their goal is to read more, or to invest in relationships, travel, perhaps get organized. But whether you love New Year's resolutions or not, the key thing is that very often we're aspirational. We want things to be better. We want to have a better year. We want to have a better life. We want to have a better quality of living. So in order to kick us off, I'm going to ask us just to take a listen to this. I'm going to turn off my camera. I'd like you please to give me a thumbs up if you can hear this. Let's take a listen to kick us off this very first Wisdom Wednesday 2026.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's one jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years, 5,475 days, which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities, like chores and tending to our pets and shopping, will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities. And another 720 days will go to community activities, like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
So that's a very old video, but certainly one of my favorites and certainly a goodie because it really makes me think about not only do I love jelly beans, one of my favorite sweets, but it also really gets me thinking about time is limited. And what do we have right now? We've got today to be grateful for. What can we do today that is different, that will really build our year, build ourselves? What would that strong start truly look like? And how much time do we have left? And I guess if you want something you've never had, you've got to do something. So no matter what your goal is, your word for the year, your wish, your desire, you've got to take action. So today, I just want to congratulate each and every one of you for taking action to invest in yourself in this Wisdom Wednesday. I can already see you had a strong start. You're positive. In terms of action versus reaction, this I find very powerful. Any element of your life that you're not changing, you're ultimately choosing. So, if, for example, you are really unhappy in the job that you're in and you really want to change jobs or change careers, if you're not making a decision to change it by learning new skills, by growing in your career, by making a change, you're therefore choosing that job or that relationship, it could be. So, really, if you choose to change nothing, you've chosen to stay the same way. Inaction, just like action, is a choice. And so, really, I want you to know that there is a lot of time. We very often forget. We think, okay, we're already halfway through January. There's not enough time to make New Year's resolutions or not enough time to start strong. There is still time. As of the 19th of January, this week, on Monday, we had 347 days left, close to 50 weeks left. There is enough time to start small, to start strong, to make this year your best year yet. And I want you to know that Academy of York is fully committed to supporting you each and every step of your study journey, from registration to graduation. For us, it's all about lifelong learning. Our students, it's all about helping you be yourself, your own version of yourself, but your best year. So sometimes we start a new year and we sort of think, well, sure, I'm waiting for motivation to strike. I'm waiting for my mojo. Perhaps you didn't take time off over the festive season and you've continued working, you've continued studying, and you're sort of thinking like, I haven't really had a break. How can I start strong when I'm feeling perhaps exhausted, depleted of energy? And my message to you, if you can relate to this, don't wait for magic motivation to start. Start, and the motivation and momentum will continue. But the key thing is you've just got to do something. You've just got to start in order to start strong. You don't have to start perfectly. You've just got to start. So, what does that sort of phrase, starting strong, mean to you? Well, for me, it means showing up. It means you're here right now. It means being aware of where you're at right now in your life. It means perhaps becoming conscious or mindful of what habits that are serving you? What habits are not serving you? It's about taking action. It's about not only thinking about becoming a different person or a better version of yourself, it's about doing something. And Mel Robbins puts it best. She says, 20 minutes of doing something is way more valuable than 20 hours thinking about doing something. How often in life do we spend time worrying about stuff or thinking about stuff, but not actually doing it? So I want you to just realize that today, these 60 minutes that you've invested in today, that's more valuable because you made a conscious decision of doing something. Then should I attend? Shouldn't I attend? Should I study? Shouldn't I study? Should I do the things that are on my to-do list, or should I continue scrolling on my phone? The fact that you are doing something is way more valuable than just thinking about it. Give me a thumbs up if you agree, that you agree that taking action, doing something is more valuable than just thinking about it. Because the world is filled with people who have good intentions, but they never, ever, ever do anything with that. So I can see lots of thumbs up going in terms of that, which is simply awesome. Now, each and every one of you on the line, we all very different. Camilla is different to Philip, is different to Maria, is different to Nolutando, is different to Shannon, is different to Jade, etc., etc. Our current now is all very unique. So let's try not compare ourselves to one another. I know it's an easy thing, even if you're studying a course and somebody else on the call is studying a similar course or the same course as you. It's very easy to compare ourselves, to get into that habit of comparing ourselves. What we do need you to be is 100% honest. So, in terms of your wheel of life, perhaps we've all got the following things sort of in common. We've got physical health, our finances. Most probably all of you have to work in order to earn an income. We have a business or a career, or we're self-employed, ways and things that we do in order to generate an income. We've all got different physical environments. We all do different things for fun and recreation. We're all wanting to perhaps grow, but we've all got different areas of our lives that we want to grow in. Perhaps we have loved ones in our lives, family and friends. And so these are sort of all the different elements of our lives. I want you to think about those elements of your life for 1 sec, and to think about what area or element of your life would you say is working relatively well? Or what area or element of your life is not working so well? And perhaps you need to invest time in. And I want us to sort of take that let's start with business or career. If I was to ask you to rate that element of your life out of 10, would it be above 5 or below 5? Let's just have a show of hands. How many of you would give yourselves above a 5 for career and business? Let's see how many people. I'm going to put my hand up. I would say above a 5 for that area of life. Let's see how many people are rating themselves as above a 5 for that area of our lives. I've got 8 hands up currently. Okay. I'm going to give it one more second. I think we're looking at about, okay, not too bad, about 10 of you. So 25% of you are rating yourselves above a 5. Let's put our hands down for a sec. Let's talk about now that area of our lives. Let's talk about our finances. If I was to ask you to put up your hand, if your financial health or life is below a 5, put up your hand. below a 5, we don't know one another. So let's say below a 5, let's raise our hands. Let's see how many people are sitting in that zone. How many people perhaps want more financially? I'm seeing a lot more there. Around about 20 of you are below a 5 there. Thank you very, very much. Let's put down our hands for 1 sec. Let's talk now. Let's get those hands all down just for a sec. Now we're talking about our personal growth. For those of you who feel you would rate yourself above a 5 when it comes to personal growth, meaning you're currently studying, you're focused in terms of improving your skills, knowledge, perhaps you're not studying as yet, but you are passionate, you would rate yourself as you're working on your personal growth above a 5 for that. So anywhere from 5 to 10 in terms of personal growth. Let's see how many hands we have raised there. At the moment, we've got about 13 hands raised. Let's see how many rate themselves. Okay, this is the highest level. We've got 20 people focused on personal growth and development in 2025. Let's lower our hands in terms of that. Thank you so much for participating in that. You've been honest. Let's all lower our hands. You've been honest. You're not comparing yourself. You're realizing where you're at on your personal journey. So if you think back to that personal journey, that growth journey in terms of your focus on yourself from a personal perspective, I want you to think back to why you chose to study. What was that why? Now, Simon Sinek came up with this concept of starting with why, and really, phenomenal book to read if you enjoy reading or if you like watching YouTube videos. Go to YouTube, search for this video called Start With Why, Simon Sinek. It's a great TED Talk. But he talks about how successful people are more successful because they start with their why and then they get to the how and the what. But very often, many of us start with the what. What do I want to change in my life? What do I have to do today? How am I going to get it done? We start with that versus why. And when it comes to even studying success, if we remind ourselves of the reasons why we wanted to study, and we're aware of that, and that then motivates and fuels us, we're more likely to complete our studies than starting with what module do I have to do, or how am I going to fit my studies around my life? So starting with why, reminding ourselves on that reason why, vitally, vitally important. So it starts with awareness and the goal, and a reminder that it's all about progress, not perfection. So does your why truly motivate you? I'd encourage you on the chat to think about what was your reason for studying. Most of our students are studying and working at the same time. So they're juggling careers, building their careers, they're juggling family responsibilities, they're juggling financial responsibilities and commitment, they're juggling their own physical health. Why did you choose to study? Was it about career growth for you? Was it about money, more money? Was that the key driver? Was it about creating stability? Or was it about for your own personal sense of achievement? You want to be able to graduate. You wanting personally to say you've finished this qualification. You want that joy of your family, loved ones, friends, your colleagues, your co-workers seeing you achieving something. Please jot down your personal why for studying. It might be different to those things on the board, but we really want you to think about and write down and jot down that word that motivated you to start in the first place. I encourage you to use the chat box, put down that word right now in terms of why you wanted to study. So Geraldine is saying career growth, personal achievement. Phenomenal. You've jotted it down. Jerilyn, I'm asking you, does that motivate you to get up in the morning or to spend an hour in the evening or 4 hours a week studying? If it does, awesome. That's going to be the fuel. Zena has said career growth. Perhaps, Zena, for you, imagining yourself 3 years from now, having that office, being a leader of people, growing your career, achieving leadership goals, achieving perhaps financial goals that are linked to those career goals, vitally important. Pamela's saying self-improvement, that really, really, really motivates you. Family responsibility. Monica is saying the family responsibility, personal growth is what motivates her. Zintle is saying growth in her career. Awesome. So we've got that. And I really want you to remember that why when the days get tough and you're having to perhaps utilize self-discipline. For me, if we're looking at personal growth, very often we need to make sure that we carve out time, that we make sure we have energy in order to be able to spend time on our personal growth. And then vitally, vitally important, small wins and habits. And for me, it's about being intentional with my time, being intentional about my energy levels, and being intentional about my habits, really starting to manage those habits to create further momentum. So let's talk time. And for me, the very first step in terms of time, as you saw with the jelly beans, we can't just sort of buy more jelly beans. It's not about that. We have a certain amount of time. Everybody has 24 hours in the day. Nobody knows just how much time we have in our lives. We've all got that start date. We'll all have an end date, but we don't know how many jelly beans or days we've got. So let's talk about time awareness, and let's take a listen to this. Once again, I ask you just to give me a thumbs up. I want to make sure you can hear this short video.
How to manage your time and get more done. Wake up an hour earlier, go to sleep an hour later. Well, what if that's not a possibility? Maybe life is complicated for you. You've got a lot of different things that you're doing. So we have to realize no matter if you're rich or you're poor, time is a non-renewable resource. So the next prompt I'm going to give you is for you to start recording how you spend your time in 30-minute chunks. Because once you start to become aware of it, you start to make different decisions because you know somebody's watching you. You're watching yourself.
I love that. You're watching yourself. And I love this. Become aware of how you're spending your time. And really, I love this idea of you are in the driver's seat of your own life. In order to be more productive, it's not about gaining more time in a day, because I can't say to you, oh, we're going to gain another hour. Nowadays are 25 hours. It's 24 hours in a day. You might say it's impossible for me to wake up earlier or stay awake an hour later. I cannot carve more time. So then I would be saying to you, well, where is your time going in the day? And can you carve out or make different choices when it comes to your time? One of the best tools I ever have used in terms of managing myself when it comes to managing my time is using a tool called Clockify. It's completely free. You go on, you download it, and you start to track your time in terms of how much time am I actually spending on at work, in my workday, how much of my day is spent on admin, emails, how much of my day is spent in meetings, how much of my day is spent on the phone, how much of my day is spent preparing for training sessions, for example, like today. Some people use a calendar, some people use a to-do list, a diary, a planner, a journal, a phone app. All I'm encouraging you to do is start to become aware and start to track your time, because what we're really also becoming aware of is how much time are we wasting, perhaps worrying about it, thinking about it, being distracted. How much time do we waste on our phones scrolling through social media or Instagram or How much time do we waste chatting to other people, worrying about other people's problems as opposed to doing things that are actually going to benefit us? So better time management means that you're going to finish off more things that you start. And there is a massive difference between doing stuff and actually saying it's done. And if you want to get more done, you've got to use your minutes more effectively. So time management, critically important in terms of starting strong. I read an article the other day that said the average South African spends about 4.5 hours on their phone a day. Um, is that valuable? Now, if you're using your phone in terms of studying or in terms of journaling, awesome. But if you're using your phone in terms of perhaps watching Netflix or scrolling through social media and it's not aiding your goal of completing your studies or aiding your goal of becoming the best version of yourself, then could you use one of those hours more effectively to study, more effectively in terms of completing that assignment, completing that module? Are you reading for entertainment or are you reading to improve yourself? Vitally important. Think about it. So when it comes to time management, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of phenomenal tools, gurus that are going to tell you about, the 5 a.m. club. It's going to tell you about how you can start your day more effectively in order to get more done, in order to be more productive. My personal favorite is Mel Robbins and her thoughts around time management and starting out your day more effectively. And the reason why I love this concept is she's not saying it's an hour of your morning. She's saying, let's just start with 10 minutes. Find 10 minutes. Let's see what she has to say about this. Let's take a listen to this. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear.
I want you to find 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. That's all it takes. 10 to 15 minutes. I want to teach you how you use some simple things to push through the excuses that are always going to be there and the fear that's always going to be there so that you can do what you need to do every day in order to inch yourself closer to whatever that big goal is. How you start your morning determines how your day goes. That's right. How your morning starts determines how your day goes. There's so much research about productivity and happiness, and so many of you are focused on what do I need to do? What do I need to do? How do I get more stuff done? And you get busier and busier and busier. And I want you to understand something. Being productive, being happy, being in control of your life, it has nothing to do with when you get up. It has everything to do with how you get up. And so a routine refresh is something that you have to do. You have to do it because you must have a morning routine. If you don't have a morning routine, your entire day will get hijacked. If you don't have a morning routine, you're going to wake up behind, you're going to wake up stressed out, you're going to wake up and make a major mistake, which is you're going to let the world come into your brain and set your priorities before you even put yourself first. And so a routine refresh is critical. Refresh your routine. Why is this important? Because there is so much science that talks about the power of your morning routine. And there's also so much noise out there about the morning routine. But all of the articles out there tend to be written by guys that have 2.5 hours before work starts to somehow drink mushroom tea and meditate and go to yoga and exercise and drink bulletproof coffee and sit in an infrared sauna. And I don't know what planet these people live on, but they clearly don't have children or a job they need to get to at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm being realistic. I'm being realistic about the fact that you need a morning routine, but you need one that works for you.
We're going to stop it there. So I'd like you to think about, what is the first thing you do every morning? What do you do every morning? What's the first thing you do every morning? Do you press snooze on your alarm that goes off? Do you wake up before the alarm goes off? Do you start your morning routine by checking your phone? What is your morning routine? And do you perhaps need a refresh of that morning routine? And how can you create a realistic refresh that's really going to work for you personally? You might say, I'm not a morning person. I always snooze the button and I'm never going to change that. Let's hear what it is the first thing you do each and every morning. What is it? Right now, not what you want it to be. Right now, let's be honest. What do you do first thing every single morning? Pamela's saying meditation and stretch. That is phenomenal, Pamela. You've got a great morning routine. I start by looking at my iPhone. I check my phone. Pumla, Matudi, I relate. Very often that's the very first thing. Go to the kitchen and eat, and then I go to my phone. I check my phone. I read the Bible and I pray. Poncho, excellent morning routine. But many of us don't necessarily, we always snooze. What I'm trying to do in terms of starting strong this year is I'm intentionally not checking my phone. Intentionally. So my morning refresh has been very simple. I try and wake up, and it's incredible of how powerful the mind is. I try and wake up 10 minutes before the alarm goes off. I try and not hit the snooze button. And it's incredible of how all of a sudden I am waking up 10 minutes before the alarm goes off. I'm getting out of that deep sleep and I'm starting to wake up. And secondly, I'm not hitting the snooze button. And just those 5 minutes I'm now carving out. And I'm checking in with myself. Before I get out of bed, I'm checking in. How am I feeling this morning? Second thought, what am I grateful for? Then as I get out of bed, I am trying simply to stretch and own my day, not reach for my phone. Because the minute I reach for my phone, my WhatsApp messages are coming through. People are starting to direct me and I'm not in control. Lovely, lovely stretch, energy, stretch down, move my body just for 2 minutes, not like a whole exercise routine. So check in with my thoughts, don't click the snooze button, and stretch and think about my thoughts and think about what I am truly grateful for. Now, that is my beginning part of my morning routine. And then obviously my day starts. I love to start my day with a glass of water. And I love to start my day with a pen and paper, or in my case, I use a digital journal. And I really believe that the exercise of it's 10 minutes. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? Really just journaling for 10 minutes in the morning starts me off in a better vibe, in a better mojo than using my phone, checking my phone. So whatever it is, I encourage you to think about your morning routine. So we're talking time, not being unrealistic, saying you're going to refresh everything about your day, but you're going to start to become more aware of where your time is going. And you're going to start with what are you doing in your first 5 to 10 minutes of your day, crafting a morning refresh that is going to work for you. Step 2, we're talking about energy. So I don't know whether any of you have ever heard about an energy audit, but really you're thinking about emotional energy, your physical energy, your social energy, your mental energy, your spiritual energy. I want you just to think about what drains you, what energizes you, what refreshes you. What time of the day do you feel you have the most energy, or what time of the day do you feel that energy slump? Now, on holiday, I was interested, I don't often get to spend a lot of time with my kids because during the day I'm at work. And I've got adult children. My youngest is 20. And for me, it was really interesting to see how in touch she was with her emotional energy levels. So because I spent more time with her, I noticed her saying, I am just emotionally drained. I need to unplug and to re-energize myself because I've been around a lot of people. And she's a very, very, very bubbly, outgoing, interactive, fun-loving person. But I realized that she needs quiet time to re-energize herself. She often talks about her emotional energy battery is dead, and she needs quiet time in order to then be around people again. So I'm interested to ask you just to think about, perhaps pop it in the chat. What drains you? What drains you? What drains your energy? One of the things that I've found that drains my energy at work is long meetings, or meetings that are don't have any direction, or that go on and on and on for too long. And I'm thinking, I could be using this time so much more efficiently if the meeting had an agenda, or if the meeting was scheduled, or if I prepared for the meeting in advance, or if I knew what the meeting was about in advance. I'd love to ask you once again, engagement is key here. Honesty is key here. What drains your energy? Please pop those into the chat functions and tell us what drains your energy. Be brave, pop it out there. Another thing that sometimes drains my energy would be certain people. Certain people who perhaps always want you to help them solve all their problems. And whenever you talk to them and you say, how are you? They seem to drain all of your energy. Somebody is saying negative conversations, thinking too much, my phone, perhaps pretending. That's an interesting one. Pretending to be happy, pretending to be coping, that drains you of your energy. So we've got to be honest. What drains us of our energy? Being at home the whole day, not being with people, perhaps that is, draining you. Working in law enforcement, dealing with criminals drains your energy. Long meetings, somebody else is agreeing, toxic workplace, overthinking, negative people, being asked too many questions. Matudi, I hope you're not referring to me asking you too many questions. Lacking support, perhaps sitting with our own problems. So then really, I want you to think about managing your energy. Just like money is a resource and time is a resource, your energy is a resource. And your energy, just like your phone battery needs to be recharged, so does our time, so does our energy levels need to be recharged. So really, we need to think about fueling first and then focusing. So if I sometimes I find myself, I'm so busy that I forget to eat, and then I realize I have no energy. No, now I have to remind myself I've got to eat regular meals in order to refresh my energy. Drinking water throughout the day. Here you have it, my water bottle. Making sure that I don't just sit at my desk for 10 hours a day. Getting a bit of sunlight, walking outside, realizing I cannot work for 4 hours without a breath, without having a reset, a break, standing up and stretching. Rest is not a reward. It's part of the process of energizing yourself. Protecting your mental energy instead of just worrying about everything, perhaps writing it down and actually saying, what do I have to do in the next hour? Limiting news. There's a lot of negative news or social media, negative noise, and having to really refocus that. I want you to think about your energy. Perhaps think about it in terms of what are energy takers, what are energy givers, because certain people are a blessing in our lives. They give us energy. Negative self-talk drains our energy. Not having enough healthy food is an energy drain. Just having too much sugar and junk food. resentment and gossip perhaps is a drain. Positive things, living mindfully, music could be an energy giver as opposed to an energy drain. I want you to think very intentionally about what is an energy giver and what is an energy drainer, because in order to make this year different, in order to start strong, in order to create momentum, we've got to become conscious and intentional about surrounding ourselves or carving out time to surround ourselves with things, people, activities that build energy and not just things that drain energy. For me, being in a training environment, engaging with you right now, having an audience to engage with, to talk about these tough conversations about self-improvement, growth, it actually energizes me as opposed to drains my energy. So the third step is really all about this concept of small wins or quick fixes in 26 that build momentum. And firstly, let's define what those small wins are. Because we're a college, for students, it's about any action that moves you forward and helps you reach your goal, your study goal. It's about consistently repeating those efforts and those actions, those fixes, doing things one thing at a time. So really want you to think about small wins. So what are those? What could be those small wins that have a big impact? So for me, waking up 10 minutes earlier each day is a small win that gives me a big impact. My morning refresh routine is really a small win. Doesn't take hours. It's 10 minutes of my day. It makes a massive impact in terms of the quality of my output, the quality of my day. Having a tidy workspace might be a small win, but it gives me great clarity and great focus. Somebody on the group, Yolanda, thank you. Being behind of my work schedule drains me. So being intentional about finishing projects might potentially, that small win, I'm just going to finish this. I'm going to get it done. That then will perhaps give you momentum in order to help you get the next task done. Really, small wins is all about turning survival into progress. It's about creating momentum. It's about alleviating exhaustion. It's about building endurance. And it's about alleviating and perhaps preventing against burnout. Vitally, vitally important. So when I was thinking about these quick fixes, and once again, I encourage you to jot down what may be a quick fix that you've thought about that you're going to be implementing in your life. What that is, jot it down. We want to learn about it. We want to hear from you. Here are some small quick fixes or habits that I think are going to make a big difference. For overall well-being, that check-in. What do I need to do each day? Or tidying up your space takes 10 minutes. Or getting an early night quality sleep once a week, perhaps more, because sleep debt adds up. What could be that quick fix? Perhaps it is, for me, preparing my lunchbox the night before. So in the morning, I don't have to stress about what am I going to pack in my lunchbox. Grab my lunchbox out. I've got food to fuel me for my day. What's your quick fix? So I'd love to hear from you, because it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Or perhaps a quick fix for study success is, don't wait until you have 4 hours to finish a module. Rather break it up into 20-minute chunks. Use minutes, not hours, to achieve your study goals. So, for example, one of my resolutions or goals is to read 2 to 5 pages a day in terms of various books that are going to help me. So I'm going to read more. I'm not just going to say I'm going to read a book a day. I'm simply going to spend time each and every day reading 5 pages. And by the end of the month, how much more would have I read? And then perhaps it's a weekly reflection. What worked well this week? What didn't? Or perhaps it's getting out of my comfort zone as a quick fix. And then realizing, okay, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to, ask for a meeting agenda before a meeting, something I previously wouldn't have done in order to make sure that that meeting is as effective as possible. So what is going to be your small fix or your small win? We'd love to hear from you. I'm seeing Fatima saying, have a schedule. So create a schedule's your small fix, and then sticking to the schedule. Changing your daily routine. Monica's saying sleeping for 7 hours every single day, being intentional with your daily tasks. Absolutely amazing. So for me, we need to be able to celebrate those small wins or those small victories every single day. Because when you focus on big goals, finishing your course or your qualification, graduating, getting a promotion, sometimes feels like it's too far away. You're never going to get there. You first got to finish, then you've got to update your CV, then you've got to tell your manager or your boss that you finished your qualification. No, if you start to recognize some small wins, it really reminds you that even though the finish line might be 6 months down the line or a year down the line, actually what you're doing, what you're controlling, what activities you're doing, what small fixes you're doing is actually boosting your energy and your motivation. It prevents that from you thinking, I'm just going to quit. No, it prevents you from thinking, I had a bad week. I didn't do my assignment. Therefore, I'm going to give up. It almost makes you think that I didn't do everything, but I did something, and something is better than nothing. And it really makes you feel that you're making progress. And this is supported by science. Behavioral science shows us that small actions that are repeated on an ongoing basis are more likely to drive bigger changes because it's all about repetition, not motivation, that drives long-term behavior change. It's about this concept of consistency versus intensity. A great way that I can explain consistency versus intensity in a simple way is, think about this. You brush your teeth every day for 2 minutes a day, maybe 2 minutes in the morning, a minute in the morning, a minute in the evening. That consistency is better than going to the dentist once a year. Now, I'm not saying going to the dentist once a year isn't important. I'm saying that consistency of brushing your teeth every single day, if you stopped doing that and went to the dentist once a year, you would have terrible teeth. It's the consistent habit of brushing your teeth every single day and seeing the dentist once a year that gives you beautiful, shiny, pearly whites. In terms of studying, 30 minutes a day for 5 days beats 5 hours once a week. If you think about exercise, going to the gym for 5 hours versus going to the gym every day for 20 minutes, most probably you'll find going to the gym every single day beats going to the gym for 3 hours. Getting enough sleep most nights will give you more energy than sleeping 12 hours for one night and the rest of the week not having those 6 hours of sleep. It's all about consistency beating intensity. So a reminder, everybody's progress is never linear. That's a complete fallacy. It's a myth. It's a lie. People think we move from, success is just going to be upward line, but there is no science around that. Everybody has ups and downs. You are going to miss a session. You are going to maybe miss an assignment. You might miss your study hour one day, but reset. Life is all about these highs and lows. And it really is all about, and my final message is asking for help. Really, I encourage you this year. So often we find our students, only asking for help once they've missed all of their assignments. And they say, oh, I was too scared. I thought somebody was going to judge me, or I was worried, or I thought I should know the answer. And whether this is at work, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in your studies, whether it's in your career, I encourage you to ask for help. Maybe just try it. Um, Maybe it's about, I'm really struggling with this section of work. I don't know where to start. Pick up the phone, call your student coordinator or your student motivator and ask for help. At work, you're not quite sure where to start with a project, or you've got a problem. Ask for help. Actually, people like helping other people. People might find that helping others builds their energy levels, and asking for help sooner than later is definitely the way to go. So I know we've only got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to really encourage you to, if there are any questions, to please pop them on the chat. If you don't have a question, you can make a comment. Really but starting strong is really all about getting started. That's the key message. We've spoken about tracking your activities, tracking your time, planning your day, starting your day strong. Prioritize the things that you really want to do. We've spoken about remembering you, being intentional. Think about what drains your energy, what creates energy. Um, Absolutely vitally important. So any question, please pop them on the chat. Pamela, you're asking to be added to the WhatsApp group with those studying the same course. Absolutely. Pamela, in order for us to resolve that, I'm going to ask you to send an email to support@aoi.co.za, or you can simply pop your number in the chat and I will get one of our student coordinators to assist. And let's sort that out. Pop your cell phone number in the chat room. We can definitely assist. Nompumelelo is saying, how often are we going to have these webinars? Once a month. And actually on the Learning Hub, we're going to be posting all the webinars that are coming up for the entire year. Once a month, every single month on a Wednesday at 11 o'clock. It's our Wisdom Wednesdays. Any other questions? Zintle is saying, I need to change my mindset and the way that I'm thinking. I absolutely love that. Setabile is also asked to be added to the WhatsApp group. Perfect. So please, and so has Zena. Please, if you want to be added to the WhatsApp support groups, please can I ask you to pop your cell phone number in the chat along with what you're studying so that I can fast track that. Yes, the PDF of the presentation will be saved on the Learning Hub. Once again, if you go onto our website, if you go onto the Learning Hub, all of the resources are there. You'll have a copy of the PDF. Ingoni will also be sending it out to you along with this video recording. Somebody is asking if there's a facilitator 2 times a month. You're new in bookkeeping, you're wanting for assistance. There's also perhaps student support queries, and I'm going to ask you in terms of student support, please pop a message to support@aoi.co.za. You can copy me on that email or copy Ngoni, and I will definitely ensure that we get this resolved for you. Thank you, Camilla. You've added in your cell phone number, National Diploma in Labor Relations, Business Administration. Perfect. No problem at all. We will then sort that out. So lots of queries with regards to that. So just a reminder, you can do it. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So if you just say to yourself, I can do it, you're one step closer to achieving it. I'm glad you find these sessions useful and valuable. Just a reminder, don't feel demotivated, one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you complete your courses? One module, one page at a time. We're here to assist you. We look forward to assisting you, and we're committed to that. So have an awesome day further. It's 12 o'clock. Our Wisdom Wednesday is now concluded, but I'd like to reach out and just say a big thank you to all of you who made the effort to attend today's session. Thank you and have a wonderful day. We look forward to the next session. Take care. Bye. Tando, I see you've got a question. Or you raised your hand. Don't think you have the ability to unmute. Now you do have the ability to unmute. And also, if you've got a question, please feel free to ask it. I'm listening. You just need to unmute. I see your camera's on, but you're not unmuted. Yes, I can hear you now. Tando? Seems we've lost Tando. Winnie, you have a question? Please feel free to unmute yourself. Yes.
Can you hear me? I would like to ask about my course because I'm doing payroll and SARS return. And they said the student advisor will register for me so that I can get the reference number, or my the person who's going to register me, they're going to register on the system for me and give me the reference number. But until today, I didn't receive any reference number so that I can register on the ICB.
Okay, perfect. Winnie, can I ask you to please just pop your contact number in the chat, and I will make sure that we get one of our student advisors to call you in the next 30 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Let me just type on the
So you
number.
just in the chat, you're just going to say, this is my number, this is what I'm struggling with, and please can somebody assist me? And I will make sure that in the next 30 minutes, we get somebody to reach out and call you. Ngoni, I'm also going to ask that you download the chat discussion so that we can forward it to the administration and student support team and make sure that this is actioned.
No problem.
Okay,
Thank you. Let me do that.
Thank you, Winnie.
Thank you.
Simply, yes. If you want to book a time with your student advisor or your student coordinator, you absolutely can come into the college premises. We're based at 280 Kent Avenue. I do recommend that you book a time in advance. And you are absolutely welcome. We also have a couple of study rooms if you're needing a bit of quiet space to study, and you can then also meet with your student coordinator, but it is on an appointment booking basis. I hope that answers your query. Zola, for the recording, I'm going to ask you to please go to our Learning Hub. It will be posted by this Friday, and you will then be able to access the full recording of today's session. I'm going to pop our Learning Hub address in the chat, just so you've all got it. I see we've got another hand raised. Sibonele. Sibonele, we can hear you. You just need to unmute yourself. Miranda, your hand is up. Please feel free to ask your question.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Okay. My challenge is one. I've written there just to ask for an advice, but then I didn't read my comment. So I think this is the best way to communicate with the voice or the voice note. I'm a shift worker, right? And my shifts fluctuate from time to time. Like they can literally change 3 times a week. So I struggle finding a proper study routine given the time that's because now even my sleeping patterns are not consistent due to my changing shifts. So how can you best advise me to go about doing the study?
Miranda, that's a great, great, great question. So you're a shift worker. What work do you do? And what are your shift hours? And when are you notified a month in advance of your shifts, or is it weekly?
So it's can I say it's something that's been there. It's just the schedule doesn't change. It's okay. Let me make, for instance, an example. If it's
Mm-hmm.
Monday, my 7 days on a Monday, it's gonna be morning shift on Monday and Tuesday, which is 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. And then Wednesday and
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, I'll be doing 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. And then Thursday, oh no, Friday, I'll be doing 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Then Saturday and Sunday, I'll be doing 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. both on Saturday and Sunday. And then I'll be off
So
on Monday.
okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, there are 4 different shift schedules. It's either 6 a.m. to 2, or it's
Yeah,
2 to
to
correct. So
10.
what you want to do is those standard shifts that you normally have. For example, if your shift is 6 to 2, you want to ask yourself what would be the hour or what would be the block of time during that type of a shift that you could designate to your studying. So, for example, your shift ends at 2 o'clock. You might need a bit of a chance to relax. Is there a place at work where you would be able to go and study from 2:30 until 3:30, meaning you only get back home at, say, 4:30? But would you be able to carve a standard set hour on that type of shift, 6 to 2, that you can designate to studying? Because then you know that if you've got a 6 to 2 shift, you're always going to be studying from 2:30 to 3:30. Where are you
Mm-hmm.
going to be studying is the next question. Or if your shift is, you said your second shift could be 2 to 6, could you wake up at, for example, a little bit earlier? If you normally wake up on those shift days at 9 o'clock, could you then wake up? Could you wake up at 8 o'clock and do the first hour of studying? Is that realistic or not? So you want to plan based on your shift work so that you almost make it as part of that shift. Your shift is this
Mm-hmm.
time to this time, but your study hour is this time to this time. Or if your off days are, you know, twice a month, you're off for 2 days, could you carve out time on those off days in order to do studying? So that would be some of our ideas around that. Would that help?
Yeah, I think the one that you just said, I think coming to think of it, when I knock off at 2, okay, they'll be busy in their afternoon meetings. So just after that, I can just utilize um the boardroom for that because it's nice and quiet. Because I'll be avoiding to come home and come study here because the kids will be back from school and then there's noise and disruption. So yeah, I think I'll use that, and then probably
Awesome.
during the week when I'm doing an afternoon shift, which is 2 to 10, and then yeah, after they go to school, and then I'll utilize those 2 hours just
There
before I
you
get
go.
yeah.
There you
Okay.
go.
So
100%. So jot it down, make a
yeah.
commitment. and just try and make sure that you've thought about where are you going to study. So to get home after your shift when it finishes at 2, you know you're going to be distracted by the kids. So rather to stay at the office and do your hours studying there might really make a difference. And tell the people around you that you're working with, that you're studying, get their buy-in. You'll be amazed by how supportive they'll be.
Yeah, true, true. They are as it is, eh? They are.
There you
Thank you
go.
so much for
Thank you
my
so much.
feedback.
So my apologies, everybody. I've got another meeting that I have to hop off to. We will revert back to all of your queries on the chat and we'll take it from there. Have a wonderful day further. Thank you.
Thank you.